Hello everybody, I'm Pat Patterson. Thanks for joining us. So far this year, there have been 4 IndyCar races and 4 different winners. Would the winners list be extended by one more after the Detroit Grand Prix? Brian Baxter has the answer.
Michael Andretti started on the pole for the Detroit Grand Prix, 77 laps on a new 2.1-mile IndyCar road course at Detroit's Belle Isle Park. Andretti dominated the first 35 laps on the tight 14-turn track, but then the surprise of the day came as Paul Tracy, driving in place of Rick Mears, passed Michael Andretti to grab the lead. Tracy looked strong until lap 58 when Michael Andretti moved up to pass. He and Tracy got together and then slid into the wall, and that allowed Bobby Rahal to slip by and move from third to first. Then trying to catch Rahal, Michael Andretti bumped Al Unser Jr., hit the wall again, but still kept on racing. Then late in the race, several cars wound up off the slick course, and that set up a 4-lap sprint to the finish off of a yellow caution, with Bobby Rahal in first and Michael Andretti right behind until his car finally gave up and spun out, leaving Bobby Rahal to his 22nd career win.
I could see Paul was getting loose, and Michael and I caught up to him, and, you know, maybe old age came out for something good. I thought I'd sit back and watch, and sure enough, they opened the door for me.
Behind Rahal, it was Raul Boesel in second and Stefan Johansson third at the Detroit Grand Prix. I'm Brian Baxter reporting.
All right, thank you, Brian. Well, Michael's luck ever changed. Now, earlier, the Indy Lights took to the Belle Island circuit after 7 weeks off, and Adrian Fernandez didn't lose his touch as he led flag to flag. The remainder of the top 5 were Robbie Brule, Mark Smith, Tommy Byrne, and Frank Freon. Now, the Trans Am Series also put the new Detroit circuit to good use yesterday for their biggest race of the year in front of the executives from Ford, Chevy, and Dodge.
It was the second race for the all-new Trans Am Dodge Daytonas, piloted by Tommy and Bobby Archer, with Tommy impressing the Chrysler brass with his front row starting position. The only challenge he had all day was from Chevrolet's Jack Baldwin, who fell back with mechanical problems. Archer then coasted to his first Trans Am victory and Dodge's first win in the series since 1967.
Late in the race, Jack got wide into the marbles, and I rocketed past, and all of a sudden they say, hey, slow down. I said, what do you mean? They said, well, now you're way out front. I just said, hey, good for Dodge, good for Shell, and we're on the way.
In second was Greg Pickett. Brother Bobby was third, and Ron Fellows and George Robinson rounded out the top 5. I'm Neil Kassabaum, reporting for Race Day.
Don't go away. When Race Day continues, ASA action from north of the border.
Chalk up yet another win for Dale Earnhardt and Genuine GM Parts.
Pennzoil, at home in America. IndyCar racing, off-road racing, drag racing, and NASCAR USA. Pennzoil's got what it takes to win. We've got the car, we've got the team, we've got the driver.
And if they got the oil, Pennzoil.
Pennzoil, performance, protection, quality.
All right, I'll trade you an Allison for a Wallace.
I'll give you a Strickland for a Marlin.
I need an Earnhardt.
You got it. Who's got the Busch Grand National drivers?
What do you give for him?
I got Waltrip's crew. I need his car.
Throw in a Gant?
How about Rudd?
Who's got Labonte?
Ernie Irvin, deal?
Deal.
There's one team missing.
Okay, boys. It's time to trade.
Here's Morgan Shepherd and the Collect ProSet racing cards. ProSet's official Winston Cup racing cards, now with all the top drivers.
Open road, mountain high, morning mist, golden sky. Kawasaki, it's where I wanna be. City streets, desert sun, rolling hills, forest run. Kawasaki, it's where I wanna be. Yeah!
No matter where you wanna be, you can get there on a Kawasaki.
Kawasaki, let the good times roll.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, earlier today, TNN presented the ASA AC Delco Challenge Series from Nels Corner, Ontario, and the challenge of the day was to see if anyone could stop the winning streak of Johnny Benson Jr.
Johnny Benson Jr. led early after taking his third consecutive pole, but a relentless Scott Hansen was close behind. After caution number 1 flew for Jim Cooper's slide, the restart brought a little too much action for leader Benson after he got together with second-place Hansen. Now here's how that incident looked from the in-car camera. A little scary, but Benson was okay and later returned. Before 50 laps were complete, this multi-car crash brought out the third yellow of the event involving Tim Fedewa, Glenn Allen, and several others. After a 3-hour rain delay, Tim Steele led the way with Todd Forbes close behind. Caution number 5 came just before halfway when Donnie Zweifel and Dennis Lampman tangled. Both continued. After hounding the leader for a number of laps, Forbes got his Ford out front for the first time. After an incident involving 2 cars, all the leaders pitted except for Gary St. Amant. And in the final laps, the Ohioan watched his fuel gauge as much as his rearview mirror, where Bob Seneker and Mike Eddy battled for second. Amant's fuel held out, and the Chevy driver had his first ASA win in over a year. Seneker edged Eddy for second, while Hansen took fourth, and Steele fell to fifth. This is Mark Allen reporting for Race Day.
All right, thank you, Mark. Now let's go from Canada to Mexico for the Baja 500, where the Ironman trophy was up for grabs once again this year, and Ironman Ivan Stewart was there to try for it again.
The wild backcountry of Baja, California was the site over the weekend of the famed Baja 500. 120 buggies and trucks tackled this course, which took anywhere from 9 to 18 hours to complete. No one was particularly surprised, though, that defending champion Ivan Stewart was again the overall winner, considering his team miraculously drew the coveted #1 starting spot for the second year in a row. Everyone else had to slow down for the dust of those starting in front of them, and passing was virtually impossible. There were some surprises among the other top finishers, however. Jason Baldwin came in on 3 wheels and still collected second overall. Rob MacCachern ended nearly 2 years of frustration, taking his first victory in the big pickup class and finishing third overall in the process. Also notable was Sport Utility Class winner John Swift. He started behind 60 other vehicles and drove through the pack to finish in the top 5 overall. Reporting from Ensenada, Mexico, this is Jerry Garrett.
All right, thanks, Jerry. Now the Class 8 winner and third overall finisher is joining us by satellite from San Diego. Rob MacCachern, you and your Ford team had a pretty good day out there, or days, I should say. That's a long race and a very tough race course. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Tell me a little bit about the course this year. How tough was it?
It's really tough. There's been a lot of rain down in Mexico, and the terrain's been real grown over with brush. The creeks are real deep, and there's a lot of water crossings. The course is really beautiful. We get to run through the pine forests and along the beach.
As far as your truck goes, and obviously you guys were prepared this year, that race takes a lot of preparation, and I assume that you really did have to do your homework this year.
That's right. I went down about a week in advance and went down pre-running, going over the course, practicing. Everybody at Ford, BF Goodrich, and the Rough Riders work real hard to make these wins happen for us.
What about your teammates as far as how hard they had to work? Did they win this one for you, or did you win it for them?
Well, the Rough Rider program worked really strong. The Venable Racing crew, they worked really tough for this. We've got really great pit support with this Rough Rider program that Ford's put together.
When you go home at night and you see that Baja trophy there, that means something special to everybody that's ever earned one, whether it was 1 or 2 or 3. How special was it for you?
Well, this one felt really good. It's been a long time since I've won a race, and the first time in Class 8 this season. It's been a long time coming, and hopefully a lot of these will happen in a row after this one. We'll see what happens, and I think we'll win a lot of races from now on for the rest of the year.
All right, that was what I was going to ask. What is up next for you and your team?
Well, we're going to the Barstow Fireworks 250 in July, and also the Coliseum. We'll be racing another Mickey Thompson Stadium event there, and we're running third in the points in that series and hoping to gain some more points and hopefully go for the manufacturers or the drivers' points championship.
All right, Rob, thanks for spending some time with us. Congratulations to you, and take some time off. I know you're ready for it.
Yeah, thank you, Pat.
All right, Rob MacCachern, live from San Diego. Now let's turn to a more civilized form of motor competition where luxury cars and even limousines can compete against each other. But when it's over, the participants of Car and Driver Magazine's One Lap of America rally feel like they may have raced 500 miles across the desert.
This year's edition of One Lap of America started last Wednesday in Ann Arbor, Michigan, the home of Car and Driver Magazine. 57 vehicles of every description left at 8 a.m. on the annual test of driving skills and even more so, driver endurance. The lap started in Michigan, reached down to Georgia, up to New York, and back over to Michigan. That's 13 states and 2,600 miles in 4 non-stop days. This year's winner is determined by points accumulated in 6 autocrosses, 2 drag races, and 1 hill climb held at racing facilities along the route.
I've always wanted One Lap to be an event that was based on performance, that it was fast cars. My background is racing, and racing is what's important to me. So we've tried to develop a points structure here that prioritizes performance.
At Charlotte Motor Speedway, it was the challenge of the autocross that faced the bleary-eyed drivers. Some cars felt right at home on the tight course. Some others looked out of place. And even others, well, more on them later. Some of the proceeds from this year's event will go to help support multiple sclerosis research. And Faye Teal, a 6-year participant in this event, is thrilled about that.
And I think that's great because the gang are handing me pledges and we've got money coming in, and that all means I tell them I want the cure by the year 2000 because I'm going to come back and drive and beat them all. This is the first year I have not been in the driver's seat.
And about the VW limo of Rocky Aoki, well, the damage was only cosmetic. And there was a lot more competition ahead to make up for their last place finish here. Of course, we're not quite sure where a 25-foot-long Beetle would excel.
All right, Neil. Well, Aoki didn't recover enough to overtake the #1 BMW driven by American Road Rally champion John Buffum and co-drivers Tom Grimshaw and Satch Carlson. Yesterday's victory marked the 5th time the threesome has been named winners of the One Lap of America rally. In second was the team of Billy Edwards, Ralph Beckman, and Britt Ponder. And in third was Stephen Metz and Kirk Gifford. Now, later in our show, we'll have Winston Cup highlights from today's race in Sonoma, California. But up next, the Busch Grand National cars. We're back on the short tracks last night. Stay with us.
Anything you can handle, we can handle. Yokohama High Performance Tires.
Mom's car really sounds great.
I know. I just changed her spark plugs.
You changed her spark plugs?
Yep.
What kind of plugs do you use?
NGK.
No kidding. You know, most car makers use NGKs. I use them in my race car.
That's where I got her new engine. Now Mom's really gonna like me best.
I don't think so.
NGK spark plugs. Right from the start.
Open road, mountain high, morning mist, golden sky. Kawasaki, it's where I wanna be. City streets, desert sun, rolling hills, forest run. Kawasaki, it's where I wanna be. Yeah!
No matter where you wanna be, you can get there on a Kawasaki.
Kawasaki, let the good times roll.
Introducing tire foam from Armor All. One spray, and even old tires look great. Kind of makes you wish we made car foam, doesn't it? New tire foam from Armor All. Just spray, walk away.
IndyCar driver Willie T. Ribbs tells us about the thrills of qualifying at Indy. He talks of the adversity he overcame and how backing from Bill Cosby made it all possible. Willie T. tells us about his addiction to racing and the powerful high you get from winning in a race car. Join us for this exciting edition of Winners right here on TNN.
Winners today, 10 a.m., 4:30 p.m., and again at 1 a.m. Eastern on TNN.
Welcome back, everybody. The USAC sprint cars provide so much racing action that it took 2 nights to get it all in. Here are the highlights.
The first of the two-day show was in Kansas. Defending sprint car champ Robbie Stanley was hoping to finally claim his first win of the year, but in the early laps had to watch number 26 Jim Kiefer lead from the second lap for much of the 30-lap feature. With 11 to go, Kiefer made a slight boo-boo, and Stanley got the opening he needed to make the pass and eventually claim the win. Kiefer held off Eric Gordon for second, with Tony Stewart and Johnny Parsons the top 5. The next night at I-44 Speedway, it appeared Stanley was going to sweep the weekend after taking the lead on lap 11. At mid-race, Jeff Conroy gave the leader a scare, but he and everyone else got by okay. In the closing laps, Stewart made a strong move through the pack, and on the white flag was all over and around Stanley. The second-year driver made his move stick and came away with his first USAC sprint victory. Rocky Hodges was third, with Eric Gordon fourth, and Jeff Bloom fifth.
All right, now turning to the Busch Grand National cars. After 2 races on the super speedways, this series returned to more familiar surroundings at the 3/8 mile Orange County Speedway.
Robert Pressley took the pole and the early lead for the 300-lap race, and cautions didn't take long to start accumulating. This one on lap 45 involved Atlanta Falcons coach Jerry Glanville in the black number 56. Asheville, North Carolina native Pressley had a little help from number 1 Jeff Gordon while leading on lap 135. Pressley continued with no harm done. After Jeff Burton spun in the black number 8, leader Chuck Bowen pitted, but developed mechanical woes. He continued but gave up his chance for the win. On lap 230, number 20 Jimmy Spencer muscled his way into the lead from number 34 Todd Bodine, who had inherited the top spot from Chuck Bowen. Spencer led until his Dick Moroso-owned machine was involved in caution number 9 with less than 20 laps to go. With Spencer's bad luck, early race leader Pressley grabbed the point. On the restart, Todd Bodine tried to challenge Pressley, but spun, and that brought out the 10th and final caution with 5 laps to go. Robert Pressley led the restart and stayed there to the checkers for his 5th career victory. Second went to Joe Nemechek. Bobby Labonte was third. Fourth was Kenny Wallace, and rounding out the top 5 was Jeff Gordon.
All right, this is turning out to be a very competitive year for the Busch Grand National Series, and joining us in our studios, last night's winners, one of a few drivers who has multiple wins this year, Robert Pressley. And you just watched yourself go into the checkered flag, and you said, it didn't look that easy. Well, it probably wasn't, was it?
No, it was real tough. Racetrack was in terrible shape, you know, with 10 laps to go, and we were just lucky we survived.
Well, you know, you won Darlington, you won Dover, and, you know, basically intermediate types of speedways, and then you go back to short tracks. You like one over the other? Like anyone you win, right?
Yeah, I like them all that I win, but the speedways, you know, we're a whole lot better on them this year, you know, with the new Goodyear radials. We're running good. Went to Orange County last night. Radials for the first time, boy, it's tough. You know, the racetrack was just totally different from any time we'd ever been there before.
Anybody that races short track cars knows that you can have streaks of bad luck, and then again, you can be at the right place at the right time. Last year, a lot of bad luck. This year, seems like things are turning around.
Yeah, last year we had a couple races won and lost them. This year we've had a couple races give to us, you know, because of other people's bad luck. But like I said, I'd rather be lucky as good.
And being number 2 in the points right now certainly gives you something to shoot for between now and the end of the year, if nothing else, to stay right where you're at.
Yeah, you know, second would be one improvement over last year, but, you know, we're not looking at points right now. We'd like to win a few more races or have a few more give to us, however how you want to say it. But, you know, the points, after midway, we'll start, you know, concentrating on the points.
All right, you guys head where next?
Myrtle Beach.
Myrtle Beach, that'll be live on TNN. We'll be looking for you to see how that one goes. Congratulations, great 2 in a row and a great win last night.
Well, thank you, Pat.
All right, Robert Pressley, thanks for stopping by. Coming up, start saving your money because there's going to be a lot of racing history going on the auction block soon. Stay with us, we'll tell you about it.
The only driver ever to win 200 Winston Cup races. All on champion spark plugs.
Jerry, your help out here really does make a difference in the way I run.
Well, Richard, this is our testing ground. It makes a difference in the way we build our spark plugs, too.
They work for me in both my cars, whether I'm racing or going home. I depend on champion spark plugs.
See Richard Petty race in the Champion Spark Plug 500 on June 14th at Pocono Raceway.
The Brooker boys are here on tour. What's been the highlight of your Lake Edna stop, Matt?
I'd say this new honey barbecued chicken, Russ. Fried chicken glazed in a special sauce with a touch of honey. Get 2 pieces with baked beans, coleslaw, and a biscuit in a roundup meal for just $2.99.
Woo-wee! That was completely unsolicited.
The 2-piece honey barbecue roundup meal, just $2.99, or the 8-piece meal, just $9.99 for a limited time in Lake Edna or your neck of the woods.
The intelligent engineering that powered this Oldsmobile to a world record 257 miles per hour now moves a new Oldsmobile to over 30 highway miles per gallon. Introducing Achieva by Oldsmobile. Never has so much thought gone into this much fun. Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering.
Race Day is brought to you by Toyota Motorsports, where technology on a fast track is built into every Toyota car and truck you buy.
Welcome back, everybody. It is with great sadness that we report on the passing of one of racing's pioneers. Bill France Sr., the founder and driving force of NASCAR for nearly 40 years, passed away this morning in Florida. Big Bill, as he was affectionately known to many of his friends, oversaw the growth of a regional racing series into what has become the most popular form of motorsport in America and arguably in the world. Bill France Sr. was a one-of-a-kind, and he will be missed by everyone in racing. Meanwhile, no one in the Winston Cup ranks has won more than once at Sears Point International Raceway, but all the experts expected that to change this afternoon.
Call today's road race a study in perseverance. Ernie Irvan was on the outside pole but got a bit eager at the green and got booted to the back of the field by NASCAR. Pole sitter Ricky Rudd led and was strong throughout the day. The same could be said for Terry Labonte in his Oldsmobile. But moving through the field was the Kodak driver, who also had to battle a faulty transmission. It should have come as no surprise that Irvan was going to rally, since he had a road course win to his credit from last August at the Glen. But few expected him to rally to the front and get the victory.
Terry was tough all day today, and he didn't have no trouble, and he's sure they're tough at the end. And we're just real fortunate that I didn't use all my equipment up during coming back through the pack. But I tried to stay real calm and keep the rear tires on it because I could burn them off pretty easy. So, just was real lucky that I didn't get tore up in a wreck or something like that coming through the traffic. But they had a great coach in the pits with Tony.
Labonte came home a strong second, with Mark Martin third, Ricky Rudd fourth, and Bill Elliott fifth. Call Irvan the new king of the road.
Go get 'em, Ernie. Now, Davey finishing way back in the field this afternoon. The Winston Cup points chase has become a tight 5-way battle. Allison still leads, but just by 28 points over Dale Earnhardt. Bill Elliott, Harry Gant, and Alan Kawicki are all easily within striking distance. Remember those folks who were counting Earnhardt out a few weeks ago? All right, now let's turn to an upcoming event, not a race, that will be of interest to race fans and collectors. From time to time, there have been racing auctions where teams fold up shop. But coming up in about 6 weeks, there will be an auction unlike any the sport has ever seen.
Want to own a piece of A.J. Foyt racing history or one of his custom vehicles? Everything but his current IndyCar team is going on the block. Is Supertex in financial trouble? Hardly. His 1,500-acre ranch outside Houston is proof of his business savvy over the years.
Well, the biggest reason is sitting out here and all they do is collect dust, and I'm just tired of putting badgers in them every other year and starting them up and draining the gasoline, things like that, and I just want to do some other things, and so I just don't have time to keep them up like I used to, and I decided I've just got too many of them.
Now, if you can't afford to buy his record-breaking 4th Indy 500 winning car or his 1965 Indy 500 pole-sitting Lotus, and they won't be going cheap, there are still many smaller items, such as pistons or other parts and machinery, that are all going to be cleared out. So you can leave the bank book at home, just bring your wallet instead. The folks who are running the auction in Indianapolis in August expect this to be a big deal.
AJ's influence has spread overseas to England. He's raced at Silverstone and Brands Hatch. He's had great success at Le Mans and with Dan Gurney. And so from the international standpoint, it has enormous appeal. From the amount of people that are actually going to turn up on sale day, we're legislating to expect thousands, certainly thousands.
And the stories some of these vehicles could tell.
The frame rails on it is the 6th Curtiss ever was built. Brunelli Jones drove that car quite a bit. I drove that car. A lot of famous race drivers drove that car. Last time I drove midgets in the Astrodome was 1970, and that's when they had all the Volkswagens in the midgets, and the Alfie, I still beat them. Next race I got upside down, but still we did win the feature at the Dome that night, and it's carried me a lot of victories out in California, Ascot, and a lot of races.
A lot of memories there. Now, we normally don't do this, but because this is A.J. Foyt we're talking about, if you want more information about the items that A.J. is parting with, you can write or call Anglo-American Auto Auctions, 435 Metroplex Drive, Nashville, Tennessee, 37211. Now, back to racing news. In our Toyota IMSA report, we find that Jeremy Dale is first in the GTS points with Paul Gentilozzi and Steve Millen only 1 point apart. Darren Brassfield and Robert Borders round out the top 5. Now, switching over to Supercross, the championship is going down to the wire in our Kawasaki scoreboard. Damon Bradshaw is, with a win last night, is now top with 1 race to go. Close behind is Jeff Stanton, John Michelle Bale, and Mike Ketarowski along with Guy Cooper round out the title chase. That is all that we have time for today, but join us next Sunday morning at 11:30 Eastern for the latest word from Pocono as the Winston Cup drivers get ready to start the Champion Spark Plug 500. The streets of New Orleans will be the host of the IMSA racers for their Grand Prix, and we'll have the latest news from around the country. I'm Pat Patterson. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week, everybody.
Guest of Race Day, stay at the luxurious Hyatt Charlotte at South Park, conveniently located in Charlotte's exclusive South Park district. Feel the Hyatt